You know, for the first time in a long, long time, New Zealand is completely shaking up its city planning. We're talking about a huge shift away from the rules that have shaped how we live for decades. Rules that, let's be honest, a lot of people think are just completely broken. So let's dig into what's actually changing.
I mean, have you ever asked yourself that? Why you have to get in the car for literally every single little thing? Well, that frustration you feel, that's not some random accident. It's the direct result of very specific decisions that were made about how to build our towns and cities.
For generations, this is what our cities have looked like. These massive, sprawling spaces built to make sure cars can move around easily. Everything else, well, it kind of came second. Planners have a term for this. They call it autocentric planning, and it has totally defined the way we live our lives.
So what's the real price we pay for all this? The source material calls it negative productivity. And that's not just about the money we waste on gas. It's about the hours of our lives we lose sitting in traffic, the way our economy gets dragged down by congestion, and, that feeling of isolation that comes from living in places that just weren't built for people to connect.
Okay, so how do you even begin to fix a problem that's literally set in concrete? Well, the proposed solution is a really big departure from the past, and it all revolves around this super powerful idea called as of right.
Let's break down what that means. As of right basically says that if you want to open, say, a little coffee shop on a street corner, you should just be able to do it, as long as you follow a clear, simple set of rules that are already in place. The whole point is to get rid of the crazy, expensive, and totally unpredictable permit process that stops so many good ideas before they even start.
This slide, I think, just lays it all out perfectly. The old way was always restrictive. It was all about separating things. Homes here, shops way over there. It banned things by default, and basically fought tooth and nail against any kind of change. But this new way? It's designed to be permissive. It brings things together, it permits activities as of right, and it lets our neighborhoods grow and change naturally.
Now, this whole thing isn't just an idea somebody dreamed up. The people behind these reforms are looking at what works around the world, and they've landed on Japan, a country that's famous for its amazing, vibrant, and incredibly livable cities.
I mean, just look at this alleyway in Kobe. This right here, this is the vision. It's dense, it's full of life, and it's built for people. You've got homes, little shops, restaurants, all mixed together on one street. This is the kind of neighborhood that these new rules are hoping to create.
So how in the world does Japan pull this off? Well, the secret sauce is something called standardized inclusive zoning. See, instead of our old exclusive zones, where it's only houses here or only stores over there, their zones are inclusive. That just means that a mix of different compatible uses is the default setting from the get-go.
And the Japanese system is just so beautifully simple. Almost nowhere is restricted to just one thing. And the focus isn't on banning something entirely, but on managing its effects, like noise or traffic. This lets neighborhoods naturally evolve to meet the community's needs, creating this incredible blend of homes, shops, and local life.
Okay, so this brings us to the real nuts and bolts of the new system. It's a fundamental change from regulating what you are to regulating what you do.
The magic word here is externalities. It sounds complicated, but it just means the side effects that one person's activity has on their neighbors. So instead of just saying, nope, no bars allowed in this neighborhood, the new system focuses on the negative externalities, like noise. You don't ban the bar, you just say, hey, you need to have really good soundproofing. Simple.
And this slide really shows that balancing act. On the left, that's the dream. These lively, walkable communities where everything's mixed together. On the right, that's the reality you have to plan for, the potential for noise or a bit of mess. The whole idea is to get that amazing community on the left by using smart, simple rules to manage the potential headaches on the right.
All right, let's make this feel real for a second. Picture this beautiful old corner building on your street. In most places today, trying to open a small business here would be an absolute nightmare of paperwork and permits. But with these new as-of-right rules, this quiet corner could become the new heart of the neighborhood almost overnight.
And the process for getting there is just so straightforward. Step 1, you find these key corner spots. Step 2, you allow a narrow range of low-impact businesses to open up without needing a crazy special permit. And boom, Step 3, you've just created a new local hub that makes the whole neighborhood better.
And when we say a narrow range, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the basics that make a neighborhood great. Things like cafes, convenience stores, a salon, maybe a small co-working spot. You know, businesses that serve the people who live right there, that build community, and that don't mess with the feel of the neighborhood.
So we've talked about the problem, we've talked about the solution, but what's the actual payoff? What does this future really look and feel like when you get right down to it?
Let's start with just one number, a big one, 33%.
Yeah, that's how much less people drive in mixed-use neighborhoods compared to the usual suburbs. It makes sense, right? When the things you need every day are just a short walk away, you just don't need your car as much. And that means less traffic, cleaner air, and healthier people.
And really, this is the end game. The goal is to build what are being called complete neighborhoods. Places where you don't just go to sleep at night, but where your whole life, shopping, seeing friends, just relaxing, can happen right there, just a few steps from your front door.
You know, one of the sources we looked at put it in a way I just love. It said that this whole approach is about reconnecting with the lost art and science of city, town, and community building. And that feels so true. It's an art that we've kind of forgotten for a while now.
Which really leaves us with one big final question to think about, because this entire massive reform is built on one very simple, very powerful belief, that if we change the rules that shape our cities, we can actually fundamentally change the way we live our lives.
And with that thought, we'll leave you with this final image. It really captures the spirit of this whole thing, doesn't it? A future where our neighborhoods are finally built to help us imagine, to grow, and to sustain a much better way of living together.